Movie's fucking weird.
No, it's not. It's just...
I loved so much sitting through this movie next to you. Because you were having none of this. Like, all this kid shit's going on screen. I could see you next to me just, like, straight up leaning back, just in a crowded-ass theater. There were 4 times that I laughed my ass off in this movie, and it wasn't because of the movie. It was because of what you were saying next to me. And it was in the opening credit sequence. He was sitting there in the opening credit sequence for Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. He says... They're just fucking wasting chocolate. I love 20 minutes into this when you said everyone in this fucking movie's an asshole.
It's true. There is not a likable character in this entire fucking movie except for Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
And he's a goddamn sociopath. Okay?
Yeah.
He's not charming. He's going to kill people.
Mm-hmm. He does kill people.
Yeah. No, I bet money, like, there's razor blades in those chocolate bars.
Yeah, oh yeah, like at the end, he's like, oh, don't worry, the kids are fine. What the fuck? No, they're not.
Prove it, motherfucker.
The movie's not really that sentimental to me, honestly. Like, yeah, I saw this movie when I was a kid. Everyone did.
Yeah.
You did, I did. Sure, I've seen the movie more than once, but it was... never really a big part of my childhood, or whenever I watched it, it usually wasn't my idea.
No, mine either. For years, I don't like this movie. I understand why people like it.
I do too.
Understand that it's a big part of a lot of people's childhoods.
And I can see why.
Yeah. I hate this fucking movie. I hate everything about this movie except for Gene Wilder. I like Gene Wilder in this movie because he's insane. He is crazier than Nick Cage at his cagiest.
Nick Cage would have been perfect casting for a remake of this movie. Better than Johnny Depp. Like, Nicolas Cage as Willy Wonka would make perfect fucking sense.
As directed by Werner Herzog.
Yes. I like that, like, you know, in the first half of this movie, you have to sit through so much little kid movie shit, and it makes it so great when Gene Wilder comes into it.
It's a relief. It's an honest relief because the first half of this movie is fucking insufferable.
Oh, I like that when they're struggling for money and everything. Like, oh, I can't afford candy. Really, you just got to show up on get that candy shop whenever he's in the middle of a song. And he'll give you candy for free. Like, you lean over to me like his company's gonna go out of business, this candy shop owner. He's just giving away all this shit because he's in the middle of the song. He is not charging these kids.
He just opened up and go on in. And the fucking dumb poor kid stands outside moping. Yeah. Moping. The most emo little son of a bitch in the fucking world.
He's even got a black turtleneck.
You know what? Like, all the other little kids get what's coming to them, but at least they own that they're shitty little bastards. Charlie is the worst of them. He is hands down the fucking worst of them. He's a fucking whiny little shitbag.
He's a 90s kid.
Oh my god.
I loved it when the part where it's late at night and Charlie's in bed with the grandfather, and the grandfather's reaches under the pillow and grabs the chocolate bar, says, I got this, Charlie, open it up, let's see some of that gold. And you're sitting next to me, and you go like, if Charlie didn't get it, who the fuck bought that, you fucking lazy old shitbag? By the way, this was not an empty theater.
I don't give a shit. There was a 300-pound, smelly, obviously not all mentally there man, easily in his 60s, singing along to every song right next to me, okay?
Was he really?
Yes. Under his breath in a really creepy way. And
I heard him say a couple of
with
things.
With extra emphasis on the Oompa Loompa shit. It was frightening.
Oh, man. I
just despise it's rule of thumb, I hate it when somebody says they don't like a movie because they hate all the characters in the movie. But I understand it with this shit.
But at least this has Willy Wonka. And when Willy Wonka shows up in this movie, it becomes a slasher film. So it's kind of relieving when he shows up, because you have to spend so much time with Mopey Charlie, the singing, the dancing, the grandpa stuff, the bratty kids, and then Willy Wonka shows up to be passive-aggressive as shit and murder all of them.
Yeah.
It is a slash. There's even a fucking crazy Ralph from Friday the 13th moment when the guy with the fucking meat cleaver wagon, which, what the fuck? The guy with the meat cleaver wagon shows up and says, no one goes in, no one comes out. And then no one sees that guy for the rest of the movie, so I guess his throat's cut with barbed wire.
Yeah.
So, once Willy Wonka comes in, it's a total fucking kids slasher film. And I enjoy it in that regard.
In that regard, yeah, you don't see how frightening that is as a child. As an adult...
You kind of don't.
As an adult, it's like, this man's insane.
I think
this man is honestly insane. My other question is, do adults not buy candy bars in this fucking movie?
You said that to me too in the middle of the movie.
Because, you know what? I got a job and fucking disposable income. I can buy all the fucking candy bars I want.
Not in this universe. Fucking kids only, man.
Yeah.
You got that fucking Dean Coral Candyman ass running that candy shop.
He was during that song. He was just touching kids.
I leaned over to you like, serial killer. My favorite
child molester.
You both. The biggest laugh I got out of this. It's the funniest thing. Like, I had to keep from laughing at this. It was during the Cheer Up Charlie song. The Cheer Up Charlie song, and, the mom singing about Charlie and all this shit. And then Charlie...
Oh, about how she loves him and he's a good kid.
Yeah, and then he's walking down the street, and the camera's kind of following along in front of him. And you lean over, and you just go, why is this shot like Taxi Driver?
It fucking was!
You're right. You put on Bernard Herrmann's score over that scene.
Yes.
It works. Like, it works if you put Bernard Herrmann's, saxophone score over.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Where is the Charlie stuff taking place in this? I couldn't quite pinpoint it.
Well, I think that's kind of the idea, but I get the idea that it's got to be England. Yeah.
Because he had fucking a Monty Python character as his teacher. That guy was kind of funny. Yeah, I
find this entire movie fucking insufferable.
I don't find the entire movie insufferable. Everything, I don't have hatred for it like you do, but I don't have love for it like the rest of the audience does. When I love everything with Gene Wilder.
Gene Wilder stuff's great, but
yeah.
I mean, it's also one of those movies that it's so dated, it's painful,
In that, sure, a kid's movie from 1971 is gonna look like because it was in 71 when it's showing the news this is the biggest story in the world, all the chocolate bars, blah 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 blah. You and I are like, isn't Nom still a thing?
Yeah.
And I love when the candy is all in front of the White House. That means that Nixon ordered a shitload of chocolate bars. Can you imagine this movie if Nixon got one of the golden tickets?
Yes.
So good.
Yeah, no. And it's just... It's...
Tell me the secrets, Wonka.
Yeah, Gene Wilder is so far... It is such the highlight of the movie that everything else just seems amateurish and shitty by comparison to his performance.
I like the set design of the film.
No, I hate the set design.
Really?
I hate the set design
of the factory, I like all that stuff.
The TV room.
Mm-hmm.
The TV room is brilliant set design, especially for the era.
Mm-hmm.
But the main chocolate room when they go in, fucking hell, that's terrible. It looks like a high school play.
Oh, I like it. My only thing about that is, nothing actually looks edible.
No.
It looked it's okay, the gummy bears, it looks like a balloon, and, the gumdrops also look like balloons. Some of it looks they're sitting there eating it and shit like that.
The fucking
it's
chocolate river that is just brown water.
Well, yeah. Well,
fucking try a little harder, mother.
I don't know. I make hot chocolate at home, and it looks just like that. I think it's pretty looking. I think the I think the room is pretty looking, certainly.
I hate this movie. I hate everything except for Gene Wilder.
Well, because I don't really have sentimental value towards this movie. I mean, like, if I'm gonna watch, even when I was a kid, if I was gonna watch a Gene Wilder movie, it was not this.
No.
It was my favorite Gene Wilder movie since I was a kid is Silver Streak. It still is Silver Streak.
Mine as a kid was always Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, which we're
going
seeing
to go see in like 5 minutes, and I'm honestly excited about seeing Blazing Saddles in the theater.
Yeah.
But when you told me, like, hey, double feature Willy Wonka and Blazing Saddles, I was just like, oh, I want to go to half of that.
I can't, that's okay. I usually only want to see half of Willy Wonka. Yeah. That's why his room is only made up of half things. Half of this movie is worth watching. But you know what? Because I mean, I like the movie, but like I like it, and I like parts of it, but like because it's not that sentimental, I don't hate Tim Burton's version, honestly. Like
I don't hate it. Like I understand that it is not nearly as good of a movie, and it's not gonna have that like that place in people's heart like this one did.
Yeah,
but you know what? I'd rather watch that one. Like.
That's
because Johnny Depp is. I'd rather have Gene Wilder than Johnny Depp, but the rest of the movie I liked much more.
That's the weird thing about Tim Burton's version. In this, Willy Wonka's the best part.
Yeah.
In Tim Burton's, Willy Wonka's the worst part.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it should have been Nick Cage.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Exactly. It should have been Nicolas Cage. But the rest of it, I kind of like how it oddly looks like a Holocaust film.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have all of, like, the musical numbers in it, which some work in this movie and some don't. And I don't like in the Tim Burton version that it shows the kids leaving at the end. I like figuring that they are all murdered.
Fair enough. I will say, like, as much as I hate this movie, it has one of the best movie scenes of all time.
What, the boat scene?
No.
Which one?
No, it's one line when he grabs Veruca Salt's face.
Oh, yeah.
And just looks her dead in the eyes and says the most frightening, vague thing in the fucking world.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We are the music makers. What?
That's how every single one of his lines in this movie is. Even when it's, like, heartfelt, like at the end when he says the line to Charlie, which is a really good final line in a movie, like, whatever happened to the guy who got everything he wanted, he lived happily ever after. It's like, that is really heartfelt, but at the same time, that could be so sinister.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Or like when he says to Mike TV, like, next time you speak, open your mouth a little wider.
What are you gonna do, Willy Wonka? Stick your dick in there? Jesus! Fucking...